Good evening. Hello.
Hello.
We are Play on Words. We are a collaborative performance series based in San Jose. Thank you all for coming tonight. My name is Julia.
And I'm Melinda. We are the co-creators and managing and publicity director and casting director of Play on Words.
And we are a submission-based series, which means that all the pieces you'll see performed tonight, we've read, and they're all from local writers, as well as a few friends who have traveled from across the world and are watching on the interweb. Hello, Internet.
Yeah, we are being live streamed this evening, and it's really exciting.
Yes, this is courtesy of South Bay Coast Magazine, which is a digital magazine produced by San Jose State University. So they have made this part possible. Additionally, for those of you on the internet, we are in Cafe Stritch, a wonderful bar and restaurant here in downtown San Jose. So thank you so much to Stritch for hosting us tonight. And we definitely recommend their, yes?
Thanks.
If you get a chance, grab a cocktail, grab some food. Everything is delicious.
Yeah, there will be a 10-minute intermission, at which point you're free to get all the food and drinks that you want. Mingle.
Our shows are quarterly, so we're hoping to have our next show this spring. We accept submissions pretty much any day of the year. So email us, find us on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. If you take pictures tonight, you can tag us, #PowSJ. And anything else you want to say?
Yeah, if you want more information about our organization or information about this evening in general, flyers and info on how to contact us is over there in the corner. And additionally, we are accepting suggested donations if you like what you see or if you want to contribute to our organization in any way other than your presence and your support. Pratibha over there in the corner is taking donations, and she will be there throughout the first act of our show tonight. So thank you to her.
All right. Well, thank you so much. We hope you enjoy the show. And big thanks to all of our amazing writers and readers who have loaned us their time and talent tonight. Thanks.
This is Collectibles by Betsy Miller. The young woman behind the counter looked up when I came in, but her eyes missed the shadow sitting on my shoulder. Instead, they marked the good quality of my coat, my handbag, my gloves. May I help you? She said her name was Jenny. She was pretty, jet black hair and silver earrings. The shadow fluttered, and a feather-soft chill touched my cheek. The girl saw nothing. I'm looking for Matryoshka doll, I said. A little bird told me I might find her here. Dolls are in the back. She led me through a curtained doorway, took 2 porcelain dolls from a corner shelf, palming the price tags. These are the nicest we have, antiques. I pretended not to have noticed them before she spoke. I let my gaze wander over the dolls and around the room. We were alone. Good. I saw no video cameras. If Jenny preferred to leave no record of her dealings, that suited me very well. I'm looking for a Matryoshka, I said again. You might call it a babushka or Russian nesting doll, one inside the other. Jenny moved a box out of the way and opened a toy chest. She held up a brightly painted wooden doll, twisting it open to reveal the smaller doll inside. This is what you want, right? Not just any trifle. I'm very particular. I grasped her arm. This must be the right place. My source had been very specific. It was impossible for this girl to be deceiving me, hiding a treasure she could not possibly appreciate, trying to pawn me off with this ridiculous toy. Please calm down, ma'am, Jenny said, shifting out of my grasp. Her eyes flicked to my shoulder, and she hesitated, took a step backward. Maybe you should go. I stared at her for a long moment, and the shadow flitted across the room and settled onto the box that Jenny had moved. I had assumed too much. The girl knew nothing. I must not appear too strong. I've come so far and would pay top dollar, I sighed. The doll would have been in Anna's estate. She lived nearby, and I was told her things were sent here. Oh, the estate sale, said Jenny, brightening. I haven't unpacked that yet. She went to the box. She brushed off the top, and the shadow slid off. She yanked at the tape, fished a key out of her pocket. She slit the tape with the key and carefully opened the cardboard flaps. She lifted out a coat and a straw hat, revealing the matryoshka underneath. The colors in the doll's scarf and dress had faded along with her rosy cheeks, but the thin black lines that sketched her features remained distinct. Very rare indeed. Let me give you something for your trouble. I took a pair of golden pendant earrings out of my purse. Jenny's eyes glinted, appraising. Russian. 1910, I said. Go ahead, wear them. They're yours. Jenny's nimble fingers slipped the silver out of her ears and fastened the gold in place. I held up a compact for her to admire the effect. My heart leapt with the fierce joy of the hunt, and I fought a physical compulsion to close in. I'll buy the doll. 1,000. Jenny gazed enraptured at the small pile of cash I counted out from my purse. She was mine now. Jenny, dear, one last thing. Would you mind opening the doll? I want to see the whole set. No problem. She took out the doll and gave it a twist. The lines of the doll's mouth curved up in a sly smile. I answered it with mine as the doll's small wooden hands clamped tightly onto Jenny's palm. Ow, a splinter. Jenny tugged. It stuck. She grabbed the key and tried to pry off the doll's grip. As she bent closer, the doll's mouth opened, wide and elastic. Jenny dropped the key, and I watched, enraptured, until with a faint click, Jenny was gone, and the wooden doll rested on the floor. The matryoshka smiled, her cheeks rosy, her lips red, her scarf bright. The shadow flitted toward her, and a small black bird settled into the crook of her arm. I put away my money. I pocketed the key and silver earrings to save as cherished mementos of this perfect day. I picked up the doll set with my gloved hands, opening each and placing them in a row on the counter. A set of 6 raven-haired beauties with gold at their ears. Ah, I said to the doll fondly, I shall collect you, and you shall be free to collect as you please. But not from me, yes? An excellent addition to my collection. All for the price of a pair of cheap earrings. Thank you.
This is Suck It Up by Tanya Martin. A large dust bunny tumbled along after the old suitcase Valerie extracted from the hall closet, and she recognized the hair of her deceased dog hovering on the hardwood floor like a phantom. She bent down and scooped the ball of hair into the palm of her hand. It had lost its coppery luster, but it was undeniably Jasper's hair. He had passed away unexpectedly 6 months ago, and all traces of him were gone. Toys, shampoo, dog bed, the treats were all gone. But here was his fur, snowy white with dust and clumped together in a perfect sphere. Although she really ought to be packing for the flight to Los Angeles, Valerie left her suitcase in the hallway and walked to the window to better see the specimen. Sadness stabbed at her momentarily, but curiosity replaced it. What held this ball together? It was so light and weightless in her hand. She reasoned that the hairs were held in place by static electricity and fibers of the hairs somehow snagging on each other. But still, it seemed a miracle that Jasper's hair had remained, hidden away and tumbled together with bits of her world in the darkness, coalescing like the birth of a star every time she opened and shut the closet door. It was a beautiful sphere of fluff, and she decided she didn't want to throw it away. She would put it back in the closet. Valerie heard Kurt come down the stairs in his hiking boots. Kurt had never hiked in his life. The boots were a fashion statement. The cuffs of his dark Levi jeans were rolled meticulously at his ankles, and his beard was finely groomed. When are you going to get a new suitcase? That thing is way past looking vintage. What's in your hand? Oh, a perfect ball of Jasper's hair. I found it in the closet. It's a ball of dust mites and dead shit. I'll get the vacuum cleaner. Wait, I'm not ready to throw it out just yet. The dust mites, Val, you know I'm allergic. Valerie turned her back to Kurt with the dust bunny balanced in the palm of her hand. Kurt opened the adjacent closet door where they kept the vacuum cleaner. He pulled out their Dyson and plugged in the electrical cord. Then he got the hose attachment and pointed it at Valerie. Don't come near me, Kurt. I won't let you suck up the last bit of Jasper. You try to sweep up every emotional experience we have. What are you talking about? I'm sensitive. Just because your eyes welled up over Toy Story 3 doesn't mean you're sensitive. You never shed a tear for Jasper. Valerie ran down the hallway with the dust bunny held out before her. Kurt turned on the vacuum cleaner and chased after her. She tripped on Kurt's ukulele case, and the dust bunny ascended from her hand and lofted for a moment in the air before Kurt sucked it up with the nozzle of the Dyson. You bastard. Kurt turned off the Dyson and sat down on the carpet beside her. He put his arm around her shoulders, kissed her earlobe, tickling her neck with his whiskers. She shrugged him off. I'm sorry, Val. I'm sorry about Jasper. But I don't think we need to hold on to bits of dog hair to get through this. Go pack your suitcase. We've got a plane to catch. You know, it's okay to hold on to stuff. Like my old suitcase, it was my dad's. And I'm not getting a new one. It's okay to remember pain, Kurt. And in the future, if I want to cling to a bit of dog hair, you need to just let me, okay? Sure, he told her. But when she was upstairs, she heard him vacuuming out the hall closet.
This is a poem titled Indras Low Sodium Oxide Streetlights by Gary Singh. High above a concrete ocean, networked grid of low sodium oxide streetlights, spiderweb of yellow orbs delineates across the valley, making it safer for the observatory on the hill to point its refracting spy scope into the immense blackness beyond. From the observatory, you look toward an infinite number of jeweled connections, a wire mesh of solar plexus chakras, Indra's canary-colored pearls illuminating a landscape of cul-de-sac centipedes, lifelessly uniform garage doors, and stucco-fried utopias. Looking through your telescope, where a lens devoid of intrinsic existence views the jewels from above, you wonder, what would it be like to float down from the mountain like an escaped hang glider and find your reflection in each of those yellow orbs?
This is Land of the Thunder Dragon by Sarah Lynn Rogers. Chillip. It's a word that needs no teaching in Bhutan. This knowledge is experiential. Chillip, the L's dental and light from the locals, and alveolar, swallowed by whiteys like me. Chillip, as in, no one expects you to know the rules because you're just a chillip, and they know they can charge you extra because you don't know any better. You're a chillip. Before my husband was offered a one-year teaching position at a music school here, I'd never heard of Bhutan. It's a small country between China and India, an entire nation with roughly the same population as the city of San José, my old hometown. Bhutan has strict immigration policies and a high-value, low-impact tourist fee that makes visiting the country prohibitively expensive for many. A Buddhist kingdom that democratized only as recently as 2007, Bhutan is shrouded in myth and mystery by its tourism companies and considered the last Shangri-La by people who like to exoticize the Orient. When we announced our plans to friends and family, the reaction from the under 35 crowd was mostly cool, jealous. Parents were concerned about whether we'd have access to internet, how we would deal with street dogs, and the fact that they don't even use toilet paper over there. For the record, internet works, but is pay as you go, like a cheap mobile phone. And the government has imposed limits to how quickly one can upload and download data because, as one Bhutanese local told us, some kids in Korea played video games for too long and starved to death. Street dogs, though very real, were a bigger problem a few years ago, apparently, but now they mostly keep to themselves and conduct their own business. I accept street dogs as part of the scenery here, like squirrels or pigeons back home. My husband and I have a few favorites, too. We've given them treats and names like Fluff Butt, Twinkle Toes, and Black Wishbone. FYI, for the places that don't have toilet paper, that doesn't mean that people don't use anything. Like the expectation that you'll bring your own hand soap and towel to public restrooms in Japan, there's a different expectation here for meeting your own needs. If you carry your own roll, you'll never be surprised. People who live here tell me, Thimphu is not Bhutan. Outside of the bustling metropolis of the capital city, where there are no traffic lights, but there is one traffic cop. People still practice subsistence farming and live in 1,000-year-old houses. Thimphu has the things we need. You can get your hair cut at a saloon, which is how all of the signs spell that word, buy groceries at 8-Eleven, clothing at Forever 16, and Bhutanese fast food at Momo Bell. There is overwhelming beauty here. Gold-spired monasteries, mountains covered thickly with pines, clouds that drift below the peaks of the Himalayas, intricate murals on buildings, vibrant silks on women dressed in their kiras. To see only one of these sides is to do a disservice to Bhutan. Like all places, it's strange, contradictory, more complicated than its myths. As for my own expectations, I admit that I had romanticized Bhutan as a completely different kind of place from the San Francisco Bay Area. I imagined it as a solemn, mystical land where people would be serious about meditation, praising nature, and utterly profound insights. And why wouldn't I? Bhutan's got mystical propaganda on lock. Even PBS describes the country as shrouded in timeless mystery. I hoped to have an eat, pray, love experience and return home finally wise. In reality, my lifestyle in Thimphu is much goofier than I predicted. Because no one who lives here, not even taxi drivers, knows any street names, my husband and I agree to meet at places like that building that we thought was Bhutan Sweets but isn't, where the dog with the puppies lives. I'm separated by 14 hours from my friends and family at home, but most of the time, I don't feel that I'm a world away. Except when it comes to a stranger's capacity for kindness. On my first day in Thimphu, I walked in a daze. When I started nodding off at my husband's school, I knew it was time to go home, though I wasn't sure of my way back. Navigating by landmark, I found my way to our street and then froze. I didn't know which building housed our apartment. I walked the length of the street, clutching my key, a slender, old-fashioned thing that could have been designed by a cartoonist, and wondering what I should do. Just then, a neighbor with a baby swaddled on her back motioned me over to her. "I saw you arrive this morning. You went inside that one," she said, and pointed the way. The gesture seems small, but it made all the difference to me. More than side-to-side head nods, or riding on the left side of the road, or a different awareness of my skin. It was this kindness that made me feel far from home.
This is Free Medical from Van Tribes by Rick Alpers. The free medical clinic bus stopped in rushes of dust and leaves on Story Road every Tuesday mornings. It was a heaven for young mothers and old river people, because there was no other place to go for treatment for simple things like thorn wounds or pink eye or etc. What Dudley found on Tuesday was not what he expected to find. The free clinic was made up of a few RNs and one doctor who donated their time to help river people. The day was donated, once a month, by the Rotary International equipped bus for preventative medicine and small repairs to whoever needed it. Each person who served was fulfilling a real service. It was good for their souls and resumes. Dudley knew what happened almost before he felt it. The rose debris was left by a gardener who did not want to pay dump fees and dropped the clippings on 10th Street, right in the best parking spots. To make things worse, Dudley stepped over the clippings last night as he got into his truck, Carlotta, to go to sleep. Why didn't I remember? He thought to himself as he hopped along 10th Street at 7 a.m. on Tuesday morning. Lisa needed Carlotta to go over to the Recovery Inn for the bread handout and coffee that morning, so Dudley rode his bike to the free medical clinic bus. As he lined up outside, he noticed a figure inside the bus. He looked again and thought, that person is familiar. She looked like Donnie Larkin from Ione, California. Donnie and Dudley had been an item in high school. They had known a lot of each other. As the line moved on, Dudley knew for sure it was Donnie and no one else. What am I going to say? How will she remember me? Will she talk about the shed behind the rodeo grounds? Donnie was not prepared for this meeting. She hadn't really followed Dudley's whereabouts and tried not to dwell too much on that, except when the friends would tell stories about high school and what a cute couple they made. Well, they had been a cute couple, but Dudley had never known what a couple they really were. Donnie had a rush of emotion when she saw Dudley in the free medical line. Thank you.
Compassion, the Essence of Nursing by Lady Kurth. I am a compassionate person. I know those bitches down in critical care don't think so, but let me tell you something. The collective knowledge of that crew and all their ancestors would fit into a small syringe with room left over. How did I get to be so compassionate? It wasn't easy. That's for goddamn sure. One thing I learned in 30 years of nursing is that you have to be compassionate toward yourself before you can be compassionate to others. The other day, I was an hour late for work. Did I berate myself? Did I call myself unfair names? Did I treat that small infraction like a federal case? No. Others, like my supervisor, might do that, but I've learned not to collaborate with the oppressor. The nurse ahead of me, who stayed an extra hour to cover my shift, screamed in my face. She used unfair language and told the supervisor to write me up. Did I sock her in the jaw like she deserved? No. She has not learned compassion as I have. I have contented myself with telling her in the kindest possible way to lighten up and get out of my face. I had work to do. Compassion is the nature of my calling. Last week, the supervisor signed me up for 2 goddamn 9-hour shifts in a row. Did I let Mrs. Smith die just to show the oppressors? course not. Pretty much that whole 18 hours I did my best, within reason. I got those catheters in one way or the other. That's compassion in action. There are challenges, you bet. Sometimes, when I'm in a terrible hurry, I mix up the meds a bit, never on purpose, and I always apologize if the patient is conscious. Otherwise, that time is better spent on the next patient, but usually it's not a problem. They can sense compassion, even if they're in a coma. And here's something I've learned. You have to be cruel at times to be compassionate. It's definitely tricky to be both at the same time. To the outside observer, getting shot with a big, thick needle looks cruel. To the insider, it's life-saving compassion. That's right. And there's a certain pleasure involved. In the compassion, I mean. I work the night shift. Change latex gloves God knows how many times. Wash my hands till they're chapped, and yell at the aides till I'm hoarse. Compassion gives me the strength to stand and wave goodbye to Mrs. Whatsit while a volunteer wheels her into the elevator. The helium balloons attached to her wheelchair get stuck in the automatic door. The bouquet on her lap falls off, and that's not my problem. When patients leave my floor in something other than a body bag, I feel pretty good. And if I've made their stay uncomfortable enough that they change their eating, drinking, smoking habits just to avoid coming back, well, you can't get much more compassionate than that. What a wonderful feeling. Oh, I gotta go. The whiner in 302 needs her morphine upped. Thank you.
This is A Girl in Pink by Christine Keating. We're in a pink room. It's the room of a girl who watched too much Disney and wanted to have the room of a princess when she grew up. Maisie enters with Josh. He follows behind, taking in a room for the first time. He closes the door behind them and they face one another. They kiss softly. Maisie pulls back shyly, puts her hand on his cheek, sighing whimsically.
Boring.
She pulls a gun and shoots him in the head, sighs, and sits on the bed daintily.
Josh, do you know how expensive ammo is these days? It's like $20 for a box of 45s. Did you know the price of bullets has more than doubled since 1980? Back then, box was only $9. Seriously, with that and the price of soundproofing this awful apartment, it's hard on a girl these days. I mean, look at these shoes. These weren't cheap. I wore them for you, Josh. I hoped you wouldn't be boring, but you were. All you had to do was excite a girl a little. Surprise me, but no. We went on a picnic and you poured me a glass of champagne. We cuddled and watched the sunset. Ugh, I mean, I almost shot you in the park when you pulled out that acoustic guitar. You're just like all the others, and now you'll end up in the same place as the rest. I guess I better put you away for now. At least I can stash you quietly from here. Couldn't have done that in the park.
She picks up Josh's arms and pulls, lights out. Scene 2 is 2 weeks later, the same room. Maisie enters, followed by Owen, who is dazzled by the room's brightness. Owen closes the door, puts his hands on her waist.
So, 2 days a month.
It's been a pretty great month.
It has, hasn't it?
I'm a little surprised, to be honest. When you said we were going to the park, I thought it was going to be so lame.
How's that?
Oh, you know, parks are places where guys try to be cute and sensitive. It usually doesn't work.
I'm not really the sensitive type. Actually, I have to tell you, Maisie, I'm not that great at this kind of stuff.
You seem fine at it. You've been a perfect gentleman. I'm the one who usually doesn't get this far.
Really?
Yeah, things have usually exploded by this point.
Well, that's hard to believe. A girl as pretty as you,
Pretty?
the prettiest.
Maisie reaches for her skirt pocket.
I should feel like I should warn you about something.
Her hand in her pocket.
Oh?
There's a reason I'm not good at this stuff. I tend to hurt the people I like.
I understand that.
I don't think you do.
Owen pulls out a knife and stabs it into Maisie's thigh.
Oh my God! Oh, I jabbed it in so hard I got stuck in the bone!
Maisie pulls the knife out of her leg. Blood gushes out. She aims her gun at his chest.
Do you know how difficult it is to pull knife out of bone?
I was trying to kill you.
And I'm going to kill you.
What?
Well, that's what I do, Owen.
What?
I kill people a lot, specifically guys.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know what to say.
Please don't kill me.
That's usually what I hear. I've never met someone like us before. I've never considered the possibility. You'd think we would have met someone else by this point.
I suppose I've always thought that if I met anyone else like this, I'd sort of know. And that it wouldn't keep me from dating someone like us, who kills people they date.
Well, you can't do that too. It's my thing. I make my way into women's rooms and stab them.
I get men into my room and shoot them.
Well, you've got it easy.
What does that mean?
Well, you go up to almost any guy in a bar and ask them back to your apartment. They're gonna say yes. I have to work to get my victims. It's an accomplishment.
Yeah, and you can probably keep accomplishing it for decades. I'm 22. How much longer do you think I can keep getting guys this easy before I lose my charm?
Don't sell yourself short. I totally thought you were normal. I totally was convinced by this whole girl in pink act you have going on. When I met you and we started talking, I thought, this is just too easy. I almost feel bad about this. I mentally bypassed the hard stuff and went straight to covering it up. I had so much planned for that, it was going to be a masterpiece. You didn't suspect me at all?
No, actually, I didn't. I thought you were normal.
I guess we really do seem that way to other people.
Not when we kill them.
I'm sorry about the stabbing.
Don't be.
You're bleeding a lot.
I've got bandages in the closet. Could you grab some? I'm feeling a bit faint.
Owen opens the door. Josh falls out.
Oh! Who is this?
Oh, that's Josh.
How long has he been in there?
Oh, I killed him 2 weeks ago.
We've been dating for a month.
I didn't think it was a big deal. I didn't think you'd meet.
That doesn't make it okay, Maisie. If you keep around your old boyfriends, how can I trust you to not go out and get some new guy to try and kill?
Owen, it wasn't like that. I was going to get rid of him right after I blew your brains out. If I'd gotten to. I knew him from before. We were still so new when I ran into him, and so we went out to dinner. I just wanted
You were just keeping him around for...
So I wouldn't feel alone. I promise, it meant nothing.
Really?
Really. He was going right into the river after I finished you.
Thank you. That does make me feel better.
I'm glad.
He leans down and kisses her. Her hand raises automatically to put her gun in his
Maisie!
rifle.
Oh, sorry. Old habits die hard.
This isn't going to be easy, is it?
No, I get bored easily, and you've seen what happens when I get bored.
Well, I get a little jealous.
I snore.
I drink milk right out of the carton.
Could you get those bandages?
Oh, of course, I'm sorry.
Owen steps over Josh's body and grabs a kit from the closet.
You've got half a hospital here.
He cleans Maisie's leg.
I wasn't so careful at first.
They used to see it coming?
Sometimes. It used to take me a long time to work up the courage. I got into whole relationships sometimes. They always fell in love with me. In the beginning, I would stick around for months until I got so bored that I shot them just for something to do.
When was your first time?
I was 18. This guy who I'd been dating for, I guess, 6 months or so, it started off slow. I would cut him with a safety pin in his sleep, put just a little bit of poison in his drinks so he'd get really sick but not die. But then one day, I couldn't hold back any longer. I got lucky with that one. It was so good. A really clean kill. Some of him is still at the bottom of the lake. I still visit him sometimes.
Do you always shoot?
Yep. Me and Annabelle here have always been together.
I prefer my knife, personally. It's a little more personal, thrusting a serrated 6-inch blade into someone, turning it, and watching the pain fly across a shocked face. Plus, chefs can always get away with carrying a few knives on them.
Knives can go wrong pretty easily.
But it hurt, didn't it? And if you weren't as wonderful as you are, it would have shocked you enough that I couldn't have gotten out and killed you with it afterwards before you recovered. I have never met anyone as wonderful as you.
Well, I've never met anyone I could talk to this easily.
Maisie, I'm going to level with you. I think I'm finally ready to give it up. The meaningless flings, the random women, the chase. I just want you.
I want you too. But I'm worried about leaving it behind. I mean, I'm still young. What if I meet someone else? Or you do? Or I get a little drunk and I slip up.
Well, we could try and doing it together. Put some ads on Craigslist. Ask for a threesome. Work together. Be a team.
I could do that sometimes, but I know myself. I'm more solitary.
Solitary gets old, Maisie.
It's not old for me yet. Right now, all this is boring to me. Dating, love, commitment, boring.
It could be simpler with just us.
How?
We wouldn't have to hide from anyone.
I'd like to kill people with you. But I shoot, Owen. Bang, bang. It's over quick, and I can go back to reading a book.
Well, if we're going to do this together, you'll need to use knives. I refuse to have guns in my household.
I can't give up Annabelle completely. Why can't I keep her for when you're out of town?
It's too dangerous. If we have kids.
Maisie accidentally squeezes the gun and in her arms and it goes off, embedding a bullet in the wall next to the door.
See?
Kids? Owen, that's too much. I can cut down on the random killing, but I don't know yet if I want kids.
Oh. When will you know?
Not for a few years.
Well, I'm 28 and I know. We'll have to wait 6 years for you to know?
Maybe.
Well, maybe we're just in different places in our lives. Different career paths.
But I'll take up knives.
But I won't shoot a gun for you, darling. Maybe I'll give you a call in 6 years.
But now that I've been able to talk to someone about this, I feel as if I won't be able to stop talking about it. You know how dangerous that is for people like us. We needed each other.
I know, it's been a release, like screaming at the top of your lungs, or like, oh, well.
Maybe I can call you sometime in between that 6 years? Couldn't we be friends first?
Maybe one day. Just not now. I should go.
I understand. It sucks, but I understand. At least help me with him.
Scene 3. Maisie stumbles into the room with Brady. She reaches for her pocket, pulls out a cell phone. She types.
What are you doing? Are you texting your ex? No.
He takes the phone from her and tosses it onto the bed.
No, I won't let you. You made me a promise that you wouldn't let me let you do that.
I know. I can't help it. I get like this when I'm drunk. I'm sorry. It's not you, Brady. But you're just kind of a rebound. I'm sorry.
It's okay. I just had a bad breakup too. I know how we can make each other both feel better.
Boring.
She shoots Brady between the eyes. She grabs her phone and dials. She jumps into bed and plays with the gun.
I know it's late. I'm sorry, Owen. I really miss you. Okay, yes, I've been drinking. I know I shouldn't do this anymore. I just really miss you. But I can't even go to our bench by the fountain or that one bar anymore. And Well, I kind of slipped up tonight. And I was thinking maybe you could come over. Oh, she's there. Yeah, I get it. No, yeah, it's fine. Yeah, that's great. I'm sure she's great. So glad you hooked a normal one. Yes, I do hope she heard that. And yes, I know it's 2 a.m., but you're still awake, though. So. Oh, God. I'm hanging up now. This was a terrible idea. And now what am I going to do with you?
She hangs up and throws her phone at Brady. She grabs her own knife from her bedside table, rolls out of bed, and stands over Brady's body, playing with the knife. Lights out. End of play.
On that note, we're going to take a 10-minute intermission right now, and we'll let you know when we're back live.
Thanks for listening.